This is Dolany TV, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the fabled Patrick Maroon video I was talking about. Pat Maroon. I'm still not sure which he actually prefers. The guy is just a legend. You know what? Let's just refer to him as Maroon, the guy with 2 Stanley Cups in 2 back-to-back years. That Patrick Maroon, who also happens to be one of our, as Oilers fans, our favorite players, not named a superstar or close to a superstar in the past 10 years. Patrick Maroon, in his limited time in Edmonton, really grew to be one of our biggest fan favorites. He had 16 games played back in 15-16 after the Oilers traded for him from Anaheim in that season. And then, of course, we all know 16-17. And then, of course, then we ended up trading him after or at the trade deadline back in 17-18, and you can make of what you will. He should have never been allowed to leave kind of deal, but we had to get something for him on a failing team, and we did. So let me just get the trade history here for Patrick Maroon so you can understand how this all shapes up. He originally was with the Philadelphia Flyers way back when in 2010. He was drafted by the Flyers 6th round, 161st overall in 2007. From St. Louis, of course, now 32 years old, Patrick Maroon, two-time Stanley Cup champion, Patrick Maroon. And what ended up getting traded for Patrick Maroon to New Jersey from Edmonton is Joey Dudek and a 2019 third-round pick, which New Jersey, did we trade that back to New Jersey? It says 65th overall. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Alexander Campbell, what's going on there? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna have to double check with that pick, but anyway, that's what we ended up trading for Patrick Maroon. There's more to that story than there appears to be, but we'll have to figure that one out. And of course, the question is, what did you give up to get Patrick Maroon? It is Martin Gernat and the 2016 fourth round pick. So Patrick Maroon really hasn't cost the Oilers a whole bunch over the course of his career, and I'm not saying we got a whole bunch for him from what I can read here. I'd have to do more research on that 2019 third round pick. I can't remember what happened there. I think that was something Chiarelli did. I think Chiarelli might have flipped that for Cooper Maruti, if that's correct. I am not 100% sure there. But so that's it. That's all. That's what you need to know when it comes to it. I had a question come up, and the reason I'm talking about that is somebody said we should have never let Maroon walk. We did indeed trade Maroon at the deadline back in 2018 to the New Jersey Devils, so he didn't just walk. And realistically, you look at what we gave up for him, we got more than we gave up for him, even though Joey Dudek never ended up turning into anything for the Oilers. So, my friends, what about Patrick Maroon? Why are we talking about Patrick Maroon? Tyson, you have talked for 3.5 minutes about Patrick Maroon and absolutely said nothing that realistically has anything to do with the Oilers and Patrick Maroon in 2020. Well, what I have to say currently about Patrick Maroon and the Oilers in 2020, if we can live in La La Land for a few minutes, Dreamland, whatever you want to say, for a few minutes, I already talked about Corey Perry being a guy we should sign in free agency. Patrick Maroon is a guy you got to get back in an Oilers uniform. However, I will precondition that with I don't see a chance Patrick Maroon coming back into an Oilers uniform just based on if Tampa's going to make the moves they want to keep the team together. I think Patrick Maroon stays a part of that team. And with that, let's turn over to the stats of Patrick Maroon to make sure we can understand kind of where we're coming from on all angles of a guy we've already had in the organization once before, and now, Tyson, you're talking about adding him a second time. So here we go, the Patrick Maroon stats that you so much want. These are it. He's had 5 years in Anaheim, 3 years in the Oilers organization, and then 3 different stints elsewhere, and of course only a half year in New Jersey. But Patrick Maroon, a guy who realistically, for being what he is, a third, fourth line player, except for when you're on the Oilers, you score 27 goals with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Don't ask me those questions, but you get where we're going. He's been an effective hockey player in Edmonton. He was pretty much a half point per game, if not better, player in the Oilers lineup, about .55 points per game there. And in New Jersey, he was lighting it up, 3 goals, 10 assists. And then in St. Louis, 74 games played 2 years ago when they lifted the cup, 28 points. That's a heck of a pickup there for St. Louis. And even in Tampa this year, 23 points in 64 games played. So this guy, over his career, except for those first 5 years in Anaheim, the guy does produce. The guy does produce points and does produce physicality, does produce everything. You look at the hits column here, he has had, in the past several years, on average, what are we looking at? Over a career total of hits in 513 games played, 999 hits. So you're talking 2 hits per game. Well, my friends, the big key thing I've heard when it comes to the Oilers signing free agents this offseason or trading for guys is you need guys to drag the group into the fight. We don't have enough of the guys that drag the group into the fight. I will tell you, Patrick Maroon is one of those guys. Patrick Maroon is a cheaper version of what Milan Lucic was supposed to be. And I mean, hey, there's a reason that Oilers team was effective in 16-17. We did have Mr. Milan Lucic at close to top of his game, and we of course had Patrick Maroon in the lineup as well. And the other side too, if I can just pull up the playoff section for Patrick Maroon, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points in 25 games in the Stanley Cup final or Stanley Cup playoffs this year, 7 points in 26 games last year, both Stanley Cup caliber seasons. And with the Oilers in 2016-17, 8 playoff points, 3 goals, 5 assists in those 13 games. Do remind you, the Oilers had a heck of a playoff run that year, and no matter how you view it, it was an interesting end to it as well, so it very well could have continued on. And Patrick Maroon, you look at those hit columns, right? Double the hits games played. He almost had triple the hits back in 13 games in 2016-17. He had 34 hits. Problem is, you know what? A little bit liability in that 16-17 playoff run by the looks of it. 10 giveaways. But, guys, again, we're talking about dragging a guy into the fight. And when we're talking about that, 6'3", 225 Patrick Maroon, this is the kind of guy that very clearly, based on what we've seen the past 2 years, helps you win a Stanley Cup. And again, I'm not going at it as we need to add more depth forwards, we need to add more grit. It's drag you into the fight, and he's a fan favorite in Edmonton. I know a lot of people probably very upset that I would even suggest Corey Perry should be an Edmonton Oiler, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think anyone is upset by the idea that Patrick Maroon should return to the Oilers, especially on this streak he's on. He's gone to St. Louis, he's gone to Tampa. Why not come to Edmonton and give us some Stanley Cup success, right? This guy seems to be a luck charm in the past 2 years. Why not make it 3 and Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl lift the Stanley Cup with the buddy they started their playoff careers with, Patrick Maroon? Hey, right? Hey, seems like pretty good logic to me, and that's where I'd say it dictates that why not give it a try? Patrick Maroon, of course, just off of what was it for his deal in Tampa this year? I think it was a 1 point, where is it? Where was his deal in Tampa? Why can't I find it? $900,000 deal in Tampa this season. He had a $1.75 million deal with the St. Louis Blues. So this guy getting absolutely cheap contracts here compared to realistically what he was with the Oilers. He was a $1.5 million player. So even at that, 32 years old for a year, just to see if you can ride him into the Stanley Cup final again, why not? Patrick Maroon, a guy that's built for success clearly, and yeah, why not take the chance? That's all I'm saying. End of the day, you get a fan favorite back in Edmonton. Everybody loved Patrick Maroon, and if you don't love Patrick Maroon more after winning 2 Stanley Cups, one in his hometown of St. Louis and one with the Tampa Bay Lightning, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say there. So guys, that's where I turn it over to you. Let me know your thoughts on Patrick Maroon. I know I've already heard the thoughts on Corey Perry, but as I said, I think this is a lot more unanimous in the positive direction when it comes to signing Patrick Maroon. And I guess the real question here is Corey Perry and Patrick Maroon, Corey Perry, Patrick Maroon, or Patrick Maroon only? Like, that is the question. Do you go both, one, or none? And that is the question I will turn over to you guys right now. And hopefully, like I said, I thought we'd have some breaking Oilers news today. We did on the Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels pick of Seth Jarvis being 14th overall to the Oilers, or the pick gets traded. I guess we find out if we'll get more of that news or more news similar to it today. Guys, Tyson, Dolly TV, I am up on out of here. Budsy's calling. I gotta get gone. Goodbye.